All right, welcome back, True Seeker. August 6th, 2024, a Tuesday, 13 weeks to the upcoming election. And Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz. And for the last 2 weeks, it's pretty much either been Josh Shapiro or Tim Walz. They've thrown in an Andy Bashir, a Mark Kelly. And we've talked about how all four of those men, all four of them have the connection to the number 60. Of course, Kamala will turn 60 in October, just before the 60th U.S. presidential election. But the funny move is it ended up being Tim Walz over Josh Shapiro, and Kamala and Walz are going to have their first appearance in Philadelphia, Josh Shapiro's stomping grounds, also Joe Biden's stomping grounds. And, it seems a little bit interesting since, it's Shapiro's backyard. The Philadelphia mayor a few days ago had made it seem like Shapiro was going to be the selection. The last few days, the media's been making it seem more like it was going to be Shapiro, but Walz was in the running. Watching Walz get picked, I'm reminded of the Philadelphia-Minnesota connection. And we're going to put all this together, and it's going to be another reminder. Scripted elections by the numbers, scripted sports by the numbers. I'm sure you remember that Philadelphia won the Super Bowl in Minnesota, Super Bowl 52. And as we've been talking about, when the Chiefs went to the White House to visit Biden and Kamala, it paid tribute to Minnesota, just like how we used the Chiefs picking up their fourth win of the season over Minnesota last year as an indicator that they would win their fourth Super Bowl last season, as they did. And you might recall the year Philadelphia won the Super Bowl in Minnesota. We had that all picked out in week 3. We said, oh, look at what they did. Look at little Trump's ritual with the NFL and how it points to Eagles versus Patriots in Minnesota. If you're not up on all this, we'll bring it all together because it's all the same numbers, all again, because everything's so redundant. So let's go through this piece by piece. Today is 8/6. Like 86. And the full name of Tim Walz is Timothy James Walz, which equates to 86, like Kamala Harris. And notice, if you do not apply numerology, Timothy James Walz and Kamala Harris are both also 212. See if anything interesting happens in Manhattan with these two. Of course, that's the Manhattan area code. But their names have nice gematria overlap, fitting for the 8/6 ritual. And it could have worked with Shapiro, too. He also had the connection. So you'll notice Walz is born April 6th. 4/6, like Kamala's wingman's Joe Biden, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. And again, Tim Walz is 60 years old. He will be 60 at the time of the election. But again, all four of the finalists, again, the four names you've heard about in recent weeks: Tim Walz, Josh Shapiro, Mark Kelly, Andy Bashir. They all have the same connection. Well, or connection to 60. For Walz and Kelly, they're both 60 years old. And for Shapiro and Andy Bashir, they both have it in their name gematria. Again, these were your four candidates. The feds, they do everything by the numbers. All is number, what they etch on the Masonic temple and the Masonic city. And for another familiar pattern, from Walz's April 6th birthday to this ritual today on August 6th is the 123rd day of his age. We keep seeing 123 with Kamala. Kamala has the 123 connection. She rode to the top on Willie's Willie, and the day that Joe Biden stepped down, that was 123 days after Willie Brown's birthday. Then you had Beyonce come in and give Kamala the rights to use the song Freedom. And there were a number of things with that, but freedom is, again, one of these 123 words, just like Kamala. And then you had Chuck Schumer endorse Kamala 123 days from his birthday. And just so you can be reminded of these things, 123 days from Chuck the Schmuck's birthday. And, what's interesting is the day that Chuck endorsed Kamala, that was also the day that Tim Walz came out and called Trump weird. And I got to be honest, had the media not been barking Josh Shapiro, I was thinking Tim Walz made more sense, because I've been talking about how there's a big Minnesota theme going on with this election. I've been talking about that since May. They've been reporting that it hasn't gone to a Republican Minnesota since 1972, 52 years ago. That's when Joe Biden became senator-elect. And then I talked about when the Chiefs went to the White House May 31st, how there was a Minnesota theme, just like how we used the game against Minnesota to cement our pick for a rigged Chiefs Super Bowl last year. So the media was barking Josh Shapiro, Josh Shapiro, Josh Shapiro, but there's been this big Minnesota theme. Anyway, hindsight's always 2020. But yeah, Chuck the Schmuck did endorse Kamala 123 days from the birthday. And again, it went with the Freedom song. And that was the same day that Kamala came out to Beyonce's Freedom for the first time, which was the same day that, again, Tim Walz made his remarks about the Trump JD Vance ticket being weird. And don't forget, Kamala the Small Ways 42. Don't forget the 60th election. 60 is the 42nd composite number. But again, Beyonce did that ritual for Kamala at age 42. And then the Snoop Dogg passing the torch at the Olympics. I'm sure you guys remember that one too. But it's in that post where I mentioned the thing about Willie Brown. Snoop and Kamala, both with the California connections, with the exact same October 20th birthday. Snoop Dogg, 52 years old at the time. And that's only because they changed Snoop Dogg's birthday. In terms of how we live in this Orwellian age where they change information, just go back and look at Snoop Dogg's Murder Was the Case album. You'll see right on the case cover it has Snoop Dogg's birthday, and he's born in 1972. But ever since he started hanging out with Martha Stewart, his birthday got dropped back to 1971. And I'm wondering if it's all about this year where he's getting more focused than ever. But yeah, supposedly he's 52 now. If it was Murder Was the Case days, he'd only be 51. But yeah, him and Kamala, same birthday. And there's a number of things in this post. But remember, Snoop being 52, president equals 52, like White House equals 52, like government equals 52, like authority equals 52. And Minnesota also equals 52, who, of course, hosted Super Bowl 52, where Philadelphia won. And, let's not forget, Willie Brown was 60 when he started dating Kamala Harris. Again, she rode to the top on Willie's Willie. Now she's about to turn 60 years old before the 60th election, where she's got all these 60 men around her. But yeah, again, it was July 21st that Slow Joe stepped down. Kamala took the torch 123 days after Willie's birthday. And again, the thing about July 21st, you can write that date 21/7. It was 217 days after the Pope's birthday, and women lost the right to vote in the tri-state area 217 years ago in 1807. She's in the tri-state area now, Philadelphia. So here's the other big thing that stands out about this. We've always called Philadelphia the 135 city. We also call it the 65 city. Those are the two favorite numbers in Philly. That's because it was established on the day leaving 65 days left in the year, and Philadelphia equals 65. But it was also established on a date with 135 numerology, October 27th, 1682. And notice the name of this ticket, Harris Walls. Run the alphabetic order forwards, run it in reverse. They both equal 135. Again, the reason the 135 matters beyond the date numerology is because in the Bible, in Revelation 3:7, you get the letter to the Church of Philadelphia, where it says, "These are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open." The key of David, the phrase, has that 135 gematria, going with the establishment anniversary. And for the record, Philadelphia equals 65 like Christianity. Again, Revelation's the Christian section of the Bible. Again, you'll see those numbers all the time in Philly with Rig Sports. Fly Eagles Fly, the motto for the football team, 135. Kobe Bean Bryant, arguably the biggest star athlete ever out of Philly, 135. Carson Wentz, back when he was the QB for the Eagles, set a rookie record with 135 passes without an interception, only to be eclipsed by the rival Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, who was the 135th pick of the draft and who, for the record, replaced Tony Romo, whose name also equals 135. But again, that's a short list. There's so many 135s with Philadelphia history. Just let this one be the latest. The Harris Walls ticket, who will have their first appearance in the city of Philadelphia. And yesterday we covered how perfectly aligned this was with Josh Shapiro, which is still true. I'm sure he'll be in attendance. So about going back to what I was saying, if you guys want to go back and watch what I was saying in May, I was saying there's something about Minnesota with this election, and there's something about Minnesota with the Chiefs' visit to the White House. And look at this. They visited on May 31st. Okay. From that day to today is 67 days later. You run it the other way, Timothy James Walz equates to 67, just like Kansas City equals 67. And again, Kansas City won their 4th Super Bowl last year. And if you don't know football history, Kansas City got their first ever Super Bowl win over Minnesota in Super Bowl 4. And then last year, they began the year 4-1, as we imagined they would, getting their 4th win over Minnesota, where 4-1's like 41 and Super Bowl equals 41. And for the record, Timothy Walz is the 41st governor of Minnesota. But again, just to come back up to the top here, the 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order in reverse, and then both orders with numerology. So there's 4 numbers associated with a name or a word. He has the perfect overlap with Kamala Harris. And then he also has this thing going on with what we were talking about with the Minnesota theme when the Chiefs visited the White House. So again, 67 days later, Timothy James Walz, 67, Kansas City, 67. Keep in mind, it's a feminine number. The 67th day of the year is International Women's Day, and Jewish gematria, female equals 67. As I say the word Jewish, I'm reminded that Kamala is married to a Jewish man, and Josh Shapiro could have become the first Jewish guy possibly in the White House. Still not going to be, but the Jewish thing reminds me about the verses that come in the letter written to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan and those who claim to be you-know-whos but are not. Anyhow, about football. Notice the 49ers and Vikings will play each other this year in week 2 on September 15th. And that's 40 days after this announcement. You just take the first and last name, Tim Walz, 40. There's a big theme with 1984, 40 years ago, when Ronald Reagan won re-election running on MAGA. And remember, Kamala's in Philly with Tim Walz, the same place she was the day of the Trump scare. And again, that was all political theater, staged. Can't believe anyone's dumb enough to fall for it, but it is the United States of America where everyone falls for everything. Anyway, don't forget, Butler's on the 40th parallel north. There was a lot of 40 in that. So here we are with 40 again. And let's not forget that United States equals 40 and U.S. equals 40. And the ritual was Snoop Dogg at the Olympics with the torch after the pass the torch thing with the Democrats from Biden going to Kamala. That ritual was exactly 40 weeks after Kamala and Snoop Dogg's birthday at the Olympics, where U.S. is dominating as per usual. So, yeah, 40 days. And again, it matters that the Niners and Vikings are playing each other because San Francisco's Kamala's city. He's the governor of Minnesota, who hosted Super Bowl 52, where Philadelphia won over the Patriots, Donald Trump's team. And like we've been saying, you could see that this 49ers season is scripted perfectly in tribute to Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris, because the 49ers have a primetime game on Gavin Newsom's birthday, October 10th, and then they don't play again until October 20th, Kamala Harris's birthday, and they play the Kansas City Chiefs, the rematch of Super Bowl 54 and 58 on Kamala's birthday. And here, just for the record, in case you missed last time we talked about this, let me see. The game is October 20th, upcoming. The Super Bowl this year is on the 40th day of the year, February 9th. We know what they just did to the New Orleans local, Jacoby Jones, who played in the last Super Bowl in New Orleans with the Ravens, the Harbaugh Bowl, which the 49ers were also in, how they 86 that guy. R.I.P. to Jacoby Jones. But this game between these two teams, the 49ers and Chiefs on October 20th, again, for people who can't follow. Every year, sports and politics are scripted together. Every single year. It's all rigged. Completely rigged, and it makes sense. I mean, what's American football credited to? It's credited to a Freemason. What do they etch on the Masonic Temple? Allah's number. What's DC known as? The Masonic City. What day was the NFL established? Oh, the same day in history as the Constitution, September 17th, which also happens to be Patrick Mahomes' birthday. Anyway, the Super Bowl's on February 9th, 2025. This 40 theme, the 40th day of the year. You see how that's 112 days? The game between the Niners and Chiefs is 112 days before the Super Bowl. Here, let me pull back up the calculator and hit all the reasons that matters. Kamala Harris has the 112. Kamala Harris 112. Super Bowl has the 112. Rematch of last year's Super Bowl. Chiefs has the 112. And don't forget, the first time that these teams met in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 54, remember that was 50 years after the Chiefs had won their first Super Bowl, Super Bowl IV, over the Vikings. And we call San Francisco the 50 city for the record. But anyway, 112 days. Oh, I forgot to finish what I was saying. That same season that they met for the first time, again, it's the Jesuits who do all the scripting. We're talking about the Masons, but it's like if there's a pyramid, the Jesuits are above the Masons because modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Jesuit-run HBO, again, had the episode with The Rock, who's from the Bay Area. The episode of Ballers came out 112 days before Super Bowl 54, where The Rock buys the Chiefs. So, again, here we go with another big ritual 112 days from the Super Bowl on Kamala's birthday, who's got the 112 connection. And keep in mind, Catholicism equals 112 like mathematics. And again, they gave us the calendar and the language. And Tim Walz, of course, is Catholic educated. And Minneapolis, it's hard to find, there's only a few cities in America, or I guess in the case of Minneapolis, it's the Twin Cities. The other one's St. Paul, but it's a very Catholic region. Okay, so yeah, 40 days before the game between the teams that essentially represent the candidates, Kamala and Walz. And let me see. Where did I write it down? I must have wrote it up here. I skipped over it. Let me come back up here with the whole 86 thing in just football. So, when Minnesota won the Super Bowl in Philadelphia, wait, I got dyslexic. When Philadelphia won the Super Bowl in Minnesota, remember, that year, if you guys have not been here, from Super Bowl 48 up through Super Bowl 58, I've called the Super Bowl every year, and I only got it wrong one year. And that was the year that, and I wasn't totally wrong. I did give a scenario. I explained that it was hard to call that year. But the year I got it wrong was the one in Minnesota. Idiots will come out and say, no, you got Super Bowl 56 wrong. No, we didn't. Not even close. We said it was going to be a 3-point game. It was. We said Odell Beckham would score the first touchdown at 9-1 odds. We smashed that Super Bowl like we always do. But the only year you could argue I got it wrong is I was leaning more Patriots, but I was worried about the Eagles. And if you go back and watch, well, if you can find the old content, they've deleted my channel a million times. But what we said that year was, if the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl that year, Zach Ertz, number 86, would score the winning touchdown 86 days after his birthday, because the national anthem was adopted 86 years before that season. And that's exactly what happened. Zach Ertz scored the winning touchdown in a big 86 ritual in Minnesota, winning it for Philadelphia. So now here we are all these years later, and it's the exact same thing, right? It's the same locations. It's the Minnesota governor now in Philadelphia on 8-6. Remember, 86 is a special number. Jesuits equals 86, first of all. Symbol, triangle, pyramid. That year, it was all about the national anthem and the flag, in case you forgot. September 23rd, which was a Saturday, the day before the Week 3 games, Trump took on the protesters of the flag and national anthem, and we said, oh, this is too easy. He's doing this on the 23rd day of the 9th month, like 239, the 52nd prime, in the year of Super Bowl 52. By the way, in light of that whole 239, the 52nd prime, this ritual with Tim Walz today, it's his 2,309th day of being the governor of Minnesota. So a similar number, 2309. Key digits, 239, 52nd prime, Minnesota 52. But that year we said, isn't this just so obvious? The flag was sewn in Philadelphia at 239 Arch Street. Trump has the same birthday as the flag, June 14th. The flag was 239 years old when Trump took office. And remember who did the first protest of the flag? The guy in the Bay Area where Kamala's from, Colin Kaepernick, on the 239th day of the year. He did it in the preseason on August 26th. It was a leap year that year. August 26th, 2016. Or hold on. I'm getting dyslexic now. Maybe it was. I got to go back and double check. I just know that try to remember. Super Bowl 52. All right, hold on. That would have been 2018. All right, he must have done it on August 27th, the 239th day of the year. I just remember Kaepernick was the first person to protest the flag. He did it on the 239th day of the year. Again, 52nd prime. It was just an ongoing theme. So here we are years later, and it's like the same number combination coming together. And remember, who wrote the national anthem? The national anthem was written by Francis Scott Key in Baltimore. And where's the 86 fit in with that? I know it's the United States of Amnesia. Who remembers? Remember what happened to the Francis Scott Key Bridge this year on the 86th day of the year? 86 weeks after Nancy Pelosi shook hands with the leader of Singapore in Singapore. Again, it came down on her birthday, and the ship that hit the bridge, supposedly, by accident, supposedly, the Dolly was from Singapore, and Key Bridge equals 86. So, again, predominantly Black City, Baltimore, and the black-ended towns where the bridge got knocked out. And remember, Martin Luther King Jr. would have just turned 95 had he been alive, and Baltimore's 95 town, and there was a lot more to it. But anyhow, it's all the same numbers intersecting. All the same numbers intersecting. National anthem, flag, Philly, the home of the flag. Philly with a strong connection to the Bay Area. Again, the Liberty Bell from Philly spent time in San Francisco. The sports teams that used to be in Philly have gone to the Bay. The Athletics and the Warriors. So anyway, there's that piece as well. And coming back down, let's see. What didn't we hit? This piece right here. From Walz's birthday to the election is 214 days. And again, Kamala's in Philadelphia with Walz for their first appearance as the ticket. Just like how she was in, remember, she was in Philadelphia the day of the shooting, the supposed shooting, the day they set off firecrackers and then told you a shooting happened after a little catch up on the year. But that supposed shooting was 214 days after Pennsylvania's establishment anniversary, December 12th. And again, parallels to JFK, who was killed in the 214 area code. And parallels, remember, JFK died in Dallas, the 214, just like how the Chiefs, who used to be in Dallas, had the shooting on 214, the anniversary of the Stoneman Douglas shooting. And the Stoneman Douglas shooting was in Parkland, Florida, like JFK died at Parkland Hospital in the 214 area code. Remember, the Parkland shooting was on the 45th day of the year, Valentine's Day. Trump was the president, then number 45. His shooting scare in Pennsylvania was 45 days after JFK's May 29th birthday anniversary. There's a whole lot of 214 stuff with Trump. Again, he runs on the highest degree of the Church of Satan, mega. Church of Satan equals 214. Ronald Reagan equals 214, who ran on it, who's also a Hollywood actor out in California where the Church of Satan was established. The Republican Party's 214. There's a long list to it. But it is interesting how the election is now on the 214th day of Tim Walz's age. And again, what's interesting for Trump is if he wins, remember, Minnesota has not gone Republican for 52 years. When again, Minnesota equals 52, like the Super Bowl 52 connection, where Philadelphia won. Again, president, White House, government, authority, all those words 52, 52 cards in the deck. Trump is associated with cards. Trump really comes from tarot cards, where there's 78 tarot cards in the deck, like he's 78 right now. But yeah, again, this parallel with the Super Bowl, and then remember what happened right after Philadelphia won Super Bowl 52. You had a mass shooting, again, at the Parkland School, supposedly, where they said the majority of students who were killed in Holocaust Remembrance class, which was room 1214, like the date of the Sandy Hook shooting, which had parallels too. But again, if you go back and look, the Stoneman Douglas Eagles, their logo is the exact same as the Philadelphia Eagles. And the high school is named after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, who's from Minneapolis, where the Super Bowl was won by the Eagles just days before the shooting. And again, Minneapolis is the 612 area code. And the last major shooting in Florida before Stoneman Douglas was the Pulse nightclub shooting on June 12th, 6/12. And then it was 612 days later that the shooting, again, at the high school named after the woman from Minneapolis happened. Again, right after the Eagles had won the Super Bowl. And then if you go back and look, I covered it at the time. There was a young girl supposedly who went to Stoneman Douglas. She had red hair. I want to say her name was Carly. Maybe Carly Novell. Maybe that was her name, Carly Novell. But she was one of the first people they interviewed after the shooting, and she told the story of how her grandfather was in the first. I want to say she said her grandfather was from Philadelphia, and he survived the first mass shooting in U.S. history by hiding in a closet. Again, they like to, anytime with the school shootings, I always have to bring that up, that people are hiding in the closet. Anyway, that shooting was like in the tri-state area. I think it was in New Jersey. But I just remember that time I was like, okay, so they got to bring up Philadelphia again? It's like they're trying to pound home the point to see if anyone's paying attention. It's like they're showing you the school's logo, which is identical to the Philadelphia Eagles logo. They're telling you the school's named after a woman from Minneapolis. Now they got on this red-haired girl telling the story of her grandpa from Philadelphia who survived the first mass shooting. So anyway, like I say, everything they do is ritualistic, and it's all part of an ongoing story that connects to the next chapter. So here we are. It's 6 years later, and it's like all the same elements and numbers are completely involved. And yeah, they have made things more interesting with this election. Donald Trump still has the narrative to become the nation's second Grover Cleveland, meaning split term president. You have the prophecy of Gerald Ford still alive. For the person who texted me yesterday and asked me what the prophecy of Gerald Ford was, I'm sorry, I saw your text message, but I didn't respond back because it's just like, how do you not know that? How do you have my phone number and are texting me and don't know that? Because I've literally covered it like 500 times in the last 4 years. So I don't have any time to text out what the prophecy of Gerald Ford is, but I'll repeat it one more time. And I can't believe that person has my phone number and doesn't know what I'm talking about. Again, 1989, Gerald Ford was at the Herbert Hoover Library and said, someday there'll be an old man who will die in office and the VP will be a woman and she'll become the first president. And he said that to a little girl who asked him how we'll get the first female president. And again, the thing that makes it extra weird is he said it in the Herbert Hoover Library. Herbert Hoover died the exact same day that Kamala Harris was born. So if Biden does not finish his term, Kamala will become number 47. It'll set up the narrative for Trump to become number 48, where Donald Trump equals 48, like Cleveland equals 48. Again, Cleveland's the only split-term president. And the president who was president between Grover Cleveland's 2 terms was Harrison. So Harris, obviously similar to Harrison. And yeah, I'm just wondering if the Walz thing is actually an indicator that it's going to go to Trump. Because remember, Trump was the piece for Super Bowl 52. He gave us the mega clue about the Super Bowl. We just had it all figured out. We said, oh, this is too easy. Trump. And they'd even put out a story that Trump weighed 239 pounds. Look at this. If I search Donald Trump, 239 pounds, the story should still come up. Donald Trump, 239 pounds. It was a story about how his doctor said he was overweight. Here we go. Doctor says Trump is 6'3", 239 pounds. And again, he took office while the flag was 239 years old, has the same birthday as the flag again. 239 is the 52nd prime. He took on the protesters of the flag on 23/9, a Saturday, the day before the Week 3 games. And if you want to go back and look at what happened the very next day, the Philadelphia Eagles, they had a rookie kicker. Well, they still have him, but he was a rookie at the time. And he set a Philadelphia record with a 61-yard field goal the very next day. We felt that was encouraging, too. We said, oh, this is just – things are really starting to line up here. Philadelphia, again, 101. Just like Christian equals 101 and 61. Church equals 101 and 61. Remember, in the Bible, it's a letter to the Church of Philadelphia. Philadelphia equals 65 like Christianity, and Philadelphia equals 223 like the synagogue of Satan, which is mentioned in the letter to the Church of Philadelphia, again in Revelation 3:7 through 3:9. But yeah, it's interesting how they put it together. And the other thing you got to ask yourself is why do they make this stuff so secretive? Why do they make it so ritualistic? Again, it's like I'm saying, though, everything they do every single day is a ritual. It's in numbers. It's paying tribute to history. They did have this perfectly aligned with Josh Shapiro, too. So we'll see how the event goes when they speak. Will Shapiro also be up on the stage? Again, Joe Biden is from Scranton, PA, home of The Office, near Philadelphia. Again, Kamala was in Philadelphia 267 days after her birthday, the day of the supposed shooting. Philadelphia's got the 267 area code. Remember when the Niners lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship 2 years ago? They stayed on 267 road wins as a franchise. Again, Kamala from the Bay. So, yeah, Walz definitely had the numbers as well. And again, just quick recap. It's 86. His full name's 86. Kamala Harris got the 86. Again, all four of the finalists that they kept mentioning, Shapiro, Bashir, Tim Walz, and Mark Kelly, all have the 60 connection. Again, Mark Kelly and Walz are 60 years old. Shapiro and Bashir got it in the name Gematria. Again, ongoing rituals with 123 and Kamala. This one comes on the 123rd day of Tim Walz's age. Again, Chuck Schumer, top Democrat in the Senate, endorsed Kamala 123 days from the birthday. Kamala connected to Willie Brown forever. The torch got passed to her 123 days after Willie Brown's birthday. Again, Philly is the 135 city, establishment numerology, and it goes with the biblical verse to the Church of Philadelphia about the Key of David. We call it 135 town. The Harris Walz tickets, 135 forwards and backwards. And again, fly Eagles fly, Kobe Bean Bryant. You know, the year that the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots, that year Kobe was still alive. He hadn't been 86th. He literally got 86th. But again, dead at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass when Kobe Bryant's whole career was defined by 41 and his name equaled 41. And I wrote a book about him in 41, you know, many years before he died. But yeah, if you go back and look that year, the Eagles went through the Rams, you know, Philly, LA, the two 118 cities. Just like the year the Phillies just went to the World Series. That was the 118th World Series. Nice little payout on that one, too. Last year was even better. We had the Rangers in the World Series after Game 1 at 50-1 odds. Again, the power of this knowledge. It's amazing also just how many haters I have that just love to come out of the woodwork anytime I'm wrong about anything, but then always just stay shut up while we just nail things after thing after thing after thing after thing. And then they're so dumb, they're like, oh, well, you missed the World Series this year, which actually hasn't happened because we've hit it every year since I've been here. But But again, it's like, are you tarded? I mean, how do you think it mattered when we hit 50-1 last year and 20-1 the year before that and 20-1 the year before that and 40-1 the year before that? Oh, we missed one. Oh, we gave a few pennies back. Anyway, same points we've been making all these years. I've been talking about Philadelphia and 135 since 2014 for a decade. So chalk up another 135 to the city. Carson Wentz, that record. I still remember how he got hurt the year they went to the Super Bowl, and everybody was all on the page like, "Oh, you're going to be wrong now. Carson Wentz is hurt." And I said, "No dummies. No dummies. Look at Nick Foles' initials. N, the 14th letter. F, the 6th letter. 14-6. Oh, that's the same birthday as the flag in Philadelphia." Again, people just don't learn. Can't even do something as simple as that. They need daddy to come tell them. So, anyway, yeah, they did bait us a little bit with Josh Shapiro and the media. I should have just stuck to what I was saying the whole time. There's some big theme with Minnesota in this election, and we'll see where they go with it. Remember, Minnesota equals here. Let me just go back to my. Hold on. Let me pull up the post real quick. Where is it at? Got too many things here. Here. Just to go back to this post. This is from May 31st. We've been talking about this since May, the Minnesota theme with this election. Remember, they had just like it says right here, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, both 152. They had the Vikings, or not the Vikings, the Chiefs at the White House on the 152nd day of the year this year, May 31st. This is the same day that Michelle Obama's mom died. And again, we had these dates circled 4 years ago when this happened. We had this date circled 4 years in advance to look for a major ritual on this day, the 1229th day of them being in office, 152nd day of the year, in light of how the first President's Day fell on 15/2 when they took office. But you run it the other way, Joe Biden, 64. Just like Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl in their 64th season after their owner, Norma Hunt, died on 6/4 before the season began, which was the 49ers establishment anniversary. And again, they met the president 110 days after the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is on the 42nd day of the year. They met on the 152nd, so 110 days later. Remember, the Chiefs became 4-2 in Super Bowls. Kamala equals 42. Missouri equals 42. Now they have this big rematch of the Super Bowl on her birthday, as we talked about earlier in the stream with the 49ers, October 20th, this upcoming season. But again, Minnesota 110, just like we were saying in this post. And then I was showing how the overlap, put it somewhere down here, the overlap with president in Minnesota, 110, 133, 52. Exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. Again, Minnesota hasn't gone red for a president in 52 years, not since 72, the year Joe Biden became senator-elect. But yeah, also don't forget, with regards to the government and football, the Constitution has the same birthday as the NFL, September 17th. The NFL was formed 133 years after the Constitution was established. Again, that's the same birthday as Patrick Mahomes, who's the current face of the league. And the year of Super Bowl 52, just for the record, both teams that went to the Super Bowl that year had 13-3 records. That was back when the NFL still had a 16-game regular season. Remember, they didn't make it a 17-game regular season until the year Brady won his 7th ring, when 17 is the 7th prime number. That was our favorite year ever. Both teams right before the season began for the Super Bowl outcome, and we went perfect in the playoffs. Nailed every playoff game. Yeah, so I'm going to have to do some more research on Minnesota because, again, I understand the 52 part of it, but I still think there's something deeper about why they keep pointing to Minnesota, why they keep talking about Minnesota. Again, they've mostly been talking about it from Trump's angle, saying that, he could be the first Republican to win it in 52 years. That reminds me of one other thing. Brady. We talked about how when Brady got inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame earlier this year, how it was 52 days from his upcoming birthday, which just passed 3 days ago. He's got the 8-3 birthday, like football's 83. But what stood out to me about that was the day he got inducted, again, was 52 days before his birthday, like how he lost Super Bowl 52 to Philadelphia in a big 86 ritual. Look at what Boston did to Philadelphia the day he got inducted, 52 days before his birthday. This is what I mean about how the same numbers keep coming together. Rig Sports. The Red Sox beat Philly 8-6, 52 days before his birthday. Again, Super Bowl 52, he lost to Philadelphia when Zach Ertz, number 86, scored the winning touchdown 86 days after his birthday, which was 86 years after the national anthem was adopted. Again, that was the whole theme of that season, the protests of the flag and the national anthem. That was the same day Jerry West died, for the record, at 86 on a Wednesday. I wrote Wednesday equals 86. I meant to write Mercury equals 86, but Wednesday's named after her. I'll do typos like that. I don't have a proofreader, but if you ever see an error like that, you can usually figure out what I meant. Mercury equals 86, the trickster. All right. So yeah, they did do the Minnesota governor in Philadelphia, and again, it's just it's another reminder. Here, just to go over the Josh Shapiro thing. The final two candidates were Shapiro and Walz. The media had it, and with the announcement today, here's how it lines up with Shapiro today. One more time, Shapiro's surname's got the 86. Today's 47 days after his birthday, or the 48th day of his age, like he's the 48th governor. Again, Kamala very well can become number 47, the big presidential number. And today is also 106 days before Biden's birthday, who's from the Philadelphia area. Shapiro's full name is 106. And it's also exactly 81 weeks after he became governor. Again, that's the ritual number. Big number with Biden, who's 81 right now. So, again, two candidates who were not voted into office. Nobody's voted into office in America. That's what America needs to get through their head. Nobody is voted into office. Again, it doesn't matter who votes. It only matters who counts the votes. All your elections are rigged. All of these people are puppets on the world stage doing the bidding of the people who run this country from the shadows. And again, anytime you go out to vote in these elections, you are just validating a lie. Point blank, period. So, and again, that's why all this stuff lines up so perfectly every time. Because they got the script written long in advance. You know, when all you guys who say you can't do it, it's like, do you guys think TV shows and movies are impossible? Do you think like a theatrical performance is impossible? All you guys who come here and leave comments, only God could do this. So are all theatrical scripts written by God then? I mean, if you just plan out the script with simple addition like they do, why couldn't you be like, okay, if I put this stooge in here, he lines up perfectly for this planned ritual we have for him in this year, and then that'll be perfect for this year. I mean, this is basic addition. It's just... Anyway, God's not writing the scripts, you guys, and man can do this. All you guys who can't understand addition, it's surely obvious you didn't go to college. Not to say that college is the greatest thing in the world, but it's amazing how many people think basic addition and planning a simple script where you just calculate, he's got the right name number and this many days from his birthday. It's really not that miraculous. Building a skyscraper, that takes a lot more intelligence, and man does that too. Man can build skyscrapers. A lot of you guys, your logic, you must just think like a human being never did nothing. Unless your logic is, well, everything a human being does is through God because God created. Okay. All right. We'll have another discussion about God some other time. Again, remember, God is all things, and good and evil exist in this world just like Kabbalah teaches. The Kabbalah's into Kabbalah, where this whole thing of letters and numbers comes from. The idea in Kabbalah is that, again, God is all things. God is male and female. God is good and evil. Again, that starts to make a lot of sense when you really look at the world and actually think about it. God's not just some nice thing. That God doesn't just do nice things. Have you ever gone out and just like looked in your yard and how many insects are out there like eating another insect? I mean, it's not necessarily a nice thing, Why didn't God make it so just like all things just live off eating little fruits and plants and don't have to eat one another? Anyway, we'll save this conversation, but I just get tired of every time I do a video, it's like Google deletes everybody's comments. That's why when you look at my comment section, there's usually only 10 comments there. Or sometimes it'll say like 30 comments and you can only see 2. I mean, in 2016, every video I made had at least like 300 comments. Some videos would have thousands of comments. These days, you might see 10 comments, but it's like always one of the 10 remaining, something like, it's like all the comments that would just annoy me. Like, oh, only God could do this. Only God could line this up on August 6th. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. And until next time.